Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing kind of an update video, but more than anything, this is a fails video. I have a lot of makeup products to update you guys on, and a lot of them did not work out very well for me. Some of these are recent tries, some of them I've had for a while, and I even have one or two things that are old products that I've kind of changed my mind on. I want to update you guys on all of it today. Should be a fun one. I don't often do these negative kind of videos. I always feel like I'm hurting someone's feelings when I talk badly about a makeup product, but it's important to share this stuff with you guys as well. Before we get into all of the makeup, I want to give a special welcome to any of my new visitors here. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll consider subscribing before you leave, and make sure your notifications are turned on. With that said, let's just get right into it. So before we get into the fails, I have just a couple of updates to share with you guys on some recent makeup tries. First off, this right here, the IT Cosmetics CC Nude Glow. I tried this out in a recent video. I think I posted that video last week. I've had this for about 2 weeks now. I've been using it more. I didn't love it the first time I tried it, but I found that I actually like this a little bit better when I apply it with a brush. The first time I tried it, I put it on with my fingers. I didn't love the coverage that it gave. I actually find that it gives a little more coverage with a brush, which normally I find my fingers to give me the most coverage. So this one's kind of growing on me. I wouldn't necessarily say that I love it, but I'm not as disappointed in it now that I've tried it a little bit more. It's working a little bit better for me. I still don't think it has quite as good coverage as the original CC Cream Illumination, but it does go on much better with a brush than it does with my fingers or with a sponge. The next update I have to share, I don't know that I necessarily call this thing a fail. There's something that I really like about it, and then some things that I really dislike about it. It is the Tarte Glow Bar. So I am wearing the bronzer from this on my skin today. It's this bronzer right here, you guys. I am in love with this bronzer. It has the most beautiful color and finish. It is so pretty on the cheeks. However, I don't like these other two powders, highlighters. I don't know exactly what you'd call these. I've mentioned a couple of times they kind of remind me of the finish of the finishing powders from Hourglass, which I also don't like very much. I just kind of feel like they don't do anything for me. They're not giving me much of a glow. I mean, I know technically they're probably setting my foundation down, but I don't think they do a better job than just my $3 Stay Matte powder from Rimmel. So for that reason, I feel like this is just kind of a waste for a bronzer that I really love. I don't know if they make this bronzer on its own. It's called Bronze Glow. I should look into that. If they do, I would recommend the bronzer from here. I think it's absolutely gorgeous if you have light, fair skin. But if they don't, if you're not into these kind of glowy finishing powders, I don't think that this is worth a $49 price tag. It does have beautiful packaging, but I only like one of the 3 products. So it's like, what is that, a 66% fail, I guess you could say. One more update to share with you guys is the NYX This Is Milky Gloss. This one I actually really like. I still feel like it's a little overpriced. I think this thing is close to $10 depending on where you buy it. And it does still remind me of the Butter Gloss. So it kind of reminds me of Creme Brulee. Now, I did swatch these side by side. They aren't the same color. Let me just swatch them for you guys right here. But on the lips, they remind me a lot of each other. They both kind of have that milky nude color. Creme Brulee just has a little bit more pink in it. By the way, I'm wearing Creme Brulee on my lips today. So here is Creme Brulee, the one that's a little bit more pink, and then the This Is Milky is more of like it's like an orange creamsicle. It is an exact shade dupe for Oat from Tower 28, which I love that gloss. It's nice. It's a tiny, tiny bit on the sticky side, but I actually think these are like similar stickiness. So if you're familiar with the butter glosses, this kind of feels like those. I think even this is a tiny bit more opaque, has a little bit more color to it, but I really like it. I don't know that I'd go back and buy it again because it's close to $10 and these are only $5. You get more product in these, like twice the amount of product in these, by the way, as this one, which you would never guess. 0.27 ounces to 0.13 ounces. That's a huge difference if we're talking value or bang for your buck, but it has been traveling in my purse with me a lot, which does tell me that I clearly like this stuff and it smells nice. Next, an update on the Essence Bye Bye Panda Eyes Mascara. Now, I would agree it doesn't give you panda eyes. It's very smudge resistant, kind of watery eye friendly. It also removes relatively easily. It said on their website that this is supposed to be a tubing mascara. It was not like Thrive Cosmetics tubing quality. It didn't come off the way that Thrive Cosmetics does, although that mascara is unlike any other mascara in the world as far as removing it, but it washed off pretty easily. However, it doesn't do amazing things for your lashes. This gives me like C-grade lashes. It's not the worst mascara ever. It definitely does something for my eyelashes, but it doesn't give me great volume. It doesn't give me great length. It's just kind of so-so. I have so many good mascaras, you guys. In fact, I found a couple more recently that have grown on me, and this just doesn't really cut it. It is affordable, but I think even Essence makes better mascaras than this. The Lash Princess is better than this. The volumizing 16-hour one in the purple tube, I really like. That's a better mascara than this. this. I definitely wouldn't buy it again. So for that reason, I'd say it's kind of a fail. The next fail I have, don't hate me for this one. I feel like I am the only person on YouTube that does not like this. I've heard so many people raving about this for years. I'm talking about the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I just don't like this primer. I know people have said it's like the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, like it's kind of a dupe for that one. I don't think that it is. It just doesn't go on my skin in the same way, and there's something about this that I really don't like. This does not absorb into my skin. Like when I'm rubbing it on my skin, it reminds me of if you've ever freshly put deodorant on and then like showered pretty closely after you've put deodorant on, and when the water like goes over the deodorant, it creates this weird like slippery kind of icky sensation. That's kind of what this feels like when it goes on my skin. I know that's a little bit gross, but that's how it feels. It kind of is like sticky and slippery, but it like won't absorb into my skin. Like it's just weird. It doesn't absorb in my skin. It's a weird feeling. Now once it's on, it's fine. I don't think it like irritates my skin. It doesn't mess up my foundation, but I really dislike that initial application feeling. I just think it's a little bit bizarre. I don't like how this applies on my skin. Maybe it's just me personally. Maybe I got a bad tube. Clearly it doesn't bother other people, or that hasn't been an issue or an experience for other people, but for me, I just don't like putting this on my face. A couple other foundation fails. First off, the NYX Bare With Me Blur Foundation. I just don't like this stuff, you guys. It does not have good coverage. It seems like it should. When I'm first applying it, it seems nice and pigmented and creamy, but as I blend it into my skin, it just kind of disappears. It doesn't give me good coverage. I don't like how it looks on my skin. I think the shade that I initially thought was going to be such a great shade match, I have Golden Light, is really off. It's too yellow, and there's not many foundations that are too yellow for me because I do have quite a bit of olive in my skin. Just in general, it wasn't great. It's almost a little bit dry and kind of patchy on my face. And I have to be honest, you guys, I'm not that picky with foundations. I feel like most foundations work pretty well for me, but this was one of the few that I really just did not get along with. I don't know exactly why that is. Maybe if you don't have the dry skin that I have, or you don't need the coverage that I need, you might like this, but for me, it just was a no. Definitely. I also wanted to give an update on the Neutrogena Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. I can't remember if I included this in my last update video, but I realized that I overlooked this when I was doing my most recent declutter, and I had intended to declutter this because it just did absolutely nothing for my skin. It had no coverage. I mean, this was like lower on the light coverage side for me. It does say that it has a sheer coverage, which should have told me, Mandy, you're not gonna like this, but for some reason I tried it out anyways, and I was very disappointed. If you need a decent amount of coverage, I don't think this is gonna quite do it for you either. Okay, I have a quick update on the REM Beauty eyeshadow palette. I have a bad feeling about this eyeshadow palette that I will probably never use this again. It wasn't that I disliked it. I actually thought the formula was pretty good. I would have liked a little bit more punch in the shimmers in here. Even though they went on well, they just didn't give a lot of like sparkle to the eyes. I kind of feel like this color story is just a little bland, and that purple, I don't use lavender purples very often, and everything else in here is just kind of so-so. I just have a feeling that this is a palette that I'm never going to reach for again. I don't think it was bad. I don't know that I would necessarily say that it was a fail in its performance, but just in like my own preferences and how hard I am to please with eyeshadow palettes because I have so many now, I don't think that this one really stands out, so I probably would not buy this again. One more update, and I hesitate to give this an actual fail, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction, and it's the Jacqueline Pressed Bronzer in the shade Skinny Dip. I don't mind the shade. It's a little warm, almost too warm even on me. It's a little bit too red. I mean, it's not bad. I wouldn't call it orangey, but it's a little bit off for me. And you guys, I don't like the smell. It has that kind of mapley smell. Generally speaking, that's not a smell that I really like. I mean, I like maple syrup. It's just not something I want to smell like because it's so strong. Almost smells a little hazelnutty. Maybe that's what's bothering me, and I really do not like the smell or the taste of hazelnut. So I don't know. That's really more than anything what's kind of like making me not like this as much. I don't want to reach into this because I know as soon as I dip my brush in there, I'm gonna get that overwhelming kind of like hazelnutty maple breakfast smell that for some reason, as someone that often talks about how much I love scented makeup, it just doesn't do it for me. I definitely prefer something a little bit more like cocoa-y scented or kind of vanilla scented, or just not scented at all if we're talking about powder makeup products. The formula's not bad. It goes on well. The packaging is gorgeous. Her packaging, by the way, the few things that I've tried, is really, really nice. But I don't know, if I was to go back and I could get my money back, even at the discounted price, I probably would just have passed on this. Now let's rewind the clock like 5 years and talk about something that I've changed my mind on that used to be a diehard favorite of mine, and that is the ColourPop Super Shock Highlighter in Flexitarian. So I used this in my, I think my most recent video. You guys might have seen my reaction on camera, like as I was applying it to my skin, I was like, oh, or if you apply too much, like I realized this highlighter is a little strong even for me, and I don't even think it's because I don't like a strong highlighter. You guys know that I do, but this one is quite, I don't know if glittery is the right word. It's very like chrome. Like it almost looks too chrome on your cheeks. I feel like it emphasized texture on me. It doesn't have as good lasting powder as just a traditional powder. I just think I don't like this thing anymore. It's also possible this thing is 5 years old. So maybe like the formula of this is not what it used to be. I mean, it doesn't seem different than what I remember it being. It's just a little bit too hyperchromatic, and I just don't know that that's like my style anymore. Speaking of highlighters, I have another one here from Essence. This is the Essence Kissed by the Light highlighter. I have been using this one more recently to try and figure out if I like this or not. I was kind of hoping that as I got through that upper layer, it would get better, which is very often the case with highlighters. The more you use them, the more and dig into them, the more the formula gets better. I don't know, some of you might know what I'm talking about, but I haven't found that to be the case for this thing. It just seems a little bit chalky on me, and I also feel like the color is just a little bit too kind of pinkish brown for my skin tone. I think it would work better for those of you that have more medium or light medium skin tones, maybe even like medium deep. The color is just a little bit off, and it doesn't quite have the level of sheerness or the level of shine that I like in a highlighter. It's just not the best. I mean, Essence has some great highlighters, but this, in my opinion, has not been one of them. I have an update to share with you guys on a couple of brushes. I don't want to call these fails because all of these brushes, I'm planning to resolve the issue that I have had with them, and I still highly recommend them and love them. First off, my Persona brush. This thing is a workhorse for me. I use it all the time. I wash it all the time. But this last time that I washed it, this happened to it, like the brush top kind of came out of the case. I don't think that's a big deal. I can easily glue that back in and hopefully it won't give me any more trouble. I still would recommend this brush though. This is one of the best, softest brushes that I have in my collection. I absolutely love it. I was just very sad to see that it kind of wore out there at the ferrule. I don't claim to be the best at washing my brushes, but I will say I have all these rougher brushes that I've had for many, many years. None of them have fallen apart. The quality of just the construction of them is so, so good, but I think I like the feel of this brush even better than my rougher brushes. So I don't know. I still recommend it. It's something I can thankfully fix, but I did want to mention for you guys in case you bought this and it happened to you and you're cursing me for recommending it. Hopefully you didn't have that issue or it's fixable for you as well. And I also wanted to mention my Sydney Grace brushes. Now I've only had this problem with the face brushes. None of the eye brushes have done this for me. These are also workhorse brushes for me. I think both the Persona and my Sydney Grace brushes now, lately, over the last year or two, have been getting more use than even my rougher brushes. I just think they're both a little bit softer, but I've had some loose, actually this one's okay. It's this one, like the handle's a little bit loose. I need to pull it off, re-glue it, put it back in. The bristles are fine, and that's not an uncommon problem. I've owned a lot of brushes over the years that have had this kind of loose handle issue, which is very easy to fix, so it's not a big deal to me. But again, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up in case you bought these brushes yourself. Just keep an eye out for that. Hopefully you don't have that issue, and if you do, it's something you can fix, but I just wanted to mention it. Yeah, this one too, in case it was and you were like upset about it. Just a couple more things. This right here, the Maybelline Vinyl Ink, Superstay Vinyl Ink. I have the shade Captivated. It's more of like a peachy brown nude shade. I actually like the shade of this. Here's what is a fail for me. These things smell amazing. They smell a lot like the lifter glosses, which you guys know I'm obsessed with, but they taste disgusting. Like you can taste these after you apply them. Like it's almost like the vapors of the scent bother my taste buds. I think it's probably just the pigment in these. I don't have that issue with the glosses. They actually taste kind of sugary and delicious, but this one just has like the weirdest taste to me. I just don't love it. And you guys, I have to be honest, I don't know that I love these. I shouldn't say these. This is the only one that I have. I haven't tried any of the other colors. I just feel like they're kind of like a weird, they're not quite a gloss, but they're also not a lipstick. They don't have as much color as a lipstick. I don't know what to do with these. They're not like glossy enough for me to use as a gloss, but they're not colorful enough for me to use as like a lipstick. So I'm kind of like finding that I don't have a huge use for this type of a formula. That said, I'm in a very strict routine lately with my lips that I am just a really good lip liner and a lip gloss. Like that's all I do ever these days. I almost never reach for a lipstick anymore. The color a lip liner gives just lasts longer than a lipstick, and I don't find myself needing to do all 3 steps, and I do like a bit of gloss to my lips. So that's been working for me. So other formulations just kind of don't quite fall into the groove that I'm in, I guess you could say. So thought I would mention that and just mention the taste of these because it is something that's really off-putting to me, sadly. Quick update on the About Face Matte Fluid Eye Paint that I tried out from the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. I picked up the shade White. It's the only one that I got. I actually have seen, I think it was Kelly Gooch that really loves these. Look at this. I mean, it's clearly white, but what I was hoping to get this for was to give my inner corner like a nice bright pop of pigment that I could then put maybe a shimmer on top or use that on its own. But what I have found is as I blend this out, it like loses its pigmentation. It's just not quite as punchy as I was hoping it would be. Now I can kind of, if I just kind of tap it and let it dry, I can get it to work for me. But I just find this specific color to be a little bit too sheer. It just hasn't been working for me in the way that I was hoping that it would. But yeah, I just was hoping they'd be a little bit more pigmented than that. I mean, this thing just really shears out. I'm kind of curious to try out some of the other colors because I know that Kelly's had really good things to say about some of their colored versions. I don't know, maybe I'll throw 1 or 2 colors into my next Ulta order, but this one just was not what I was hoping it would be. Kind of a fail. Last fail. I hope I didn't update you guys on this one already. Honestly, I can't remember. I should have decluttered it, but I actually forgot about this product until I was digging through my drawers looking for, okay, what things have I tried out recently that I haven't given an update on? And I found this at the very back of my drawer. It's from Nude Sticks. It's one of their little base kits. So this has a bronzer, a highlighter, and a blush. I like all 3 of these colors and formulas, but for the cheeks, this tiny pencil stick just does not work for the face very well. It's too thin to draw on, but it's also too small to really get your brush in there. I mean, you can technically do it. It's just a little bit awkward and it prevents me from reaching for these. So that's what I found with these. I didn't like the shape of these for a face product. Now, if I had each of them in this, the full size version, I think I would like them a lot more. I just find these to be a weird form for a face application, whether that be for the bronzer, the blush, or the highlighter. So just something to be aware of. I thought they looked super cute. The idea of these was really fun, but functionally, they just kind of were a fail for me. And that is it, you guys. I think that is everything. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I hope I didn't forget anything. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys are all doing well. Let me give you one last reminder. Please subscribe before you leave, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. I put a tiny bit of my Cloud Pout on just to give it a little bit of pink to match my cheeks. This one is in Cotton Candy Shoes. What? What does that say? That can't be right. Skies. Shoes, skies. It's tiny. Nobody could read that.